And for more on how this reshoring strategy is working, let's bring Jay Timmons in, who's here in New York, president of the National Association of Manufacturers. Always good to see you, Jay, especially here in person.
Good to be here.
Thanks for coming in. That's like the big picture question, I think, for someone like you who represents the people that you represent. It's like, all right, Trump came in and says, I want to bring stuff back here and have it made in the United States. How's he doing so far?
Okay, well, I have to tell you, that's not a new goal for President Trump. He was really focused on that in his first term. And we've had a really good run of some fantastic policies. So if you think about the tax reforms that were contained in H.R. 1, think about the regulatory modernization, the energy work that he's been doing to really increase our energy dominance. All those are really good news stories for manufacturing. We've got a few challenges too, but all in all, manufacturers are pretty optimistic right now.
You know, the Wall Street Journal had a story, I was reading it the other day, that kind of, I'm only chuckling because President Trump loves to use a Sharpie, right? Every time he's got a custom-made Sharpie. Well, they had this story about Sharpies and how they found a way to make their pens, you know, cheaper by manufacturing them here in the United States. So again, you deal with all kinds of manufacturing companies. One-off, example to follow. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that is kind of the story for a lot of manufacturers, right? They're investing here in the United States. And why are they doing that, Connell? So if you think again about the tax reforms that were implemented this year, those were really, he talked about it in 2017 at our board meeting, said they were going to be rocket fuel. They were. Yeah. It was record investment, record job creation, record wage growth in our sector for 3 years in a row. And we really feel like that is going to be kind of that next phase to really incentivize manufacturing investment here.
Are you surprised by some of this? I know you weren't a big tariff guy. A lot of people weren't. You surprised by some of this?
Well, I think you're going to have to separate that out because I said there are some challenges too, right?
Okay.
We need some certainty on the tariff front. I know the administration is kind of working to nail down a lot of details of certain things that they're planning to do. I want to make sure that they're doing the right thing or not harming our ability to actually invest.
Give me an example of what you're working on.
I'll give you an example. So the administration announced, I think it was last week, the 232 investigation of shop machines. We don't make a lot of those here in the United States. If we want to grow manufacturing capacity in the United States, we need those to do that. So if we're actually raising the cost of our ability to create more volume or manufacturing capacity here in the United States, that's not going to work. So we're proposing a speed pass, if you will, with the Department of Treasury to make sure that if there's something that will help us grow manufacturing capacity in the United States to achieve the president's goal, that it can come into the country without a duty, as long as it is tied to growing manufacturing investment and jobs here in this country.
Okay, how important is AI to all of this, and how do you see it being integrated? That was part of what Sharpie was talking about, at least with automation, which is driven in most of it by artificial intelligence. How important is that versus kind of old school manufacturing, which some people argue some of those jobs just won't exist and maybe shouldn't exist and aren't as efficient as years ago? So what's the role for AI?
I don't want to ever say any type of job in manufacturing shouldn't exist.
I understand.
But technology has always been, manufacturers have always been on the front end of technology.
Right, but if you use, I guess that's my point. Can you use the technology in a way to keep the jobs as opposed to eliminate them?
Absolutely. About 50% of manufacturers today already use AI, and the jobs in manufacturing, as they have for decades, just evolve and they change. So as we implement more different technologies, right, like AI, you're just going to have some different skills.
But net it's a job killer, job adder?
No, I think right now we have 400,000 open jobs in manufacturing. That's going to grow to 2 million by the year 2033.
Okay.
So we need people.
Right, you still need human beings.
Absolutely. We just need different skills today than we might have, say, 10, 20, 50 years ago.
All right, that's something encouraging. Yesterday we had these terrible numbers on AI in the future that someone put out, but that's more encouraging.
I've seen some of that, but we actually are embracing it, and we appreciate the White House using all of our recommendations in their report.
Thank you, Jay. Good to see you. Jay Timmons here, National Association of Manufacturers in New York. So.